Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the video. How are you? I'm great, thank you for asking. Today's video is obviously very controversial. Before we get into it, I want to explain to you that I am only giving you my experiences. I mean this in educational. I mean to raise the awareness of side effects, mitigation of those, promoting health and well-being and consciousness of that regarding the use of steroids. I am not promoting the use of steroids. I'm not encouraging the use of steroids. This is merely just my experience with steroids and actually my journey with it, and me explaining you through that. But before we get into that, guys, for those people who are new to the channel, we are about 8 weeks out of my first competition of the season. I'm going for that IFBB Pro card, and I've been using anabolics for like the last 6 months or so, 7 months maybe, since November, in pursuit of that. I competed naturally, lots, like 7 years naturally. This is like my 9th year of training, so I kind of naturally progressed to this position. But I'm excited and I'm feeling good, and something that I promised to myself this year was the self-improvement and the self-investment. So I have done that, guys. For the final like 10 weeks as of this video, 9 weeks even as of this video, I'll be having a videographer with me. So I have shoulders and arms today with Will, my training partner. We're gonna get it. This is George Hanks. I've employed this guy to kind of improve the content, improve what you guys see, improve what you guys get, because that is just my mission this year. You know, I've improved my client base, I've improved the service I give to them, I've improved my social media across all forms, podcast, everything, and now it's time for YouTube. So enjoy this one, guys. Shoulders and arms. I will put the full session on screen right now as I'm talking, but I hope you guys enjoy this one. Drop me a like, drop me a comment if you enjoy it, and we'll see you after the video.
When it all goes down, I'ma run this town.
Come on. Fight it.
I won't die in this town. Fire in my soul, got my eyes on the ground. I can't help myself lately, can't turn myself down. I'm in love with you, baby, but I let you down. I can't die in this town. I won't die in this town.
Get him up. Let's go, come on.
Don't die in this town. Yeah, get him up. Don't die in this town. Yeah, get him up. I won't die in this town.
This is us trying to get a thumbnail, by the way, just so you don't call clickbait. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. It was a brutal workout. So we are currently 9 weeks out, or as of this video, we are 9 weeks out. So I'm gonna put a physique update up on screen right now. This is me. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty lean. I'm definitely getting leaner. I've got the veins through my abs coming back. I've got the veins through my vastus medialis coming back. I'm just generally holding size a lot better than I was when I was natural. I felt like I ran flat very, very often, which is what you kind of have to do anyway. But I've not done that as much, obviously, as I've manipulated things as I've gone up. But it's pretty cool. Like, it's cool. It's cool to see. It's cool to see the difference. And that's where I'm at. So let's jump into the main body of this. Like, let's talk about side effects of steroids, and we're talking about every single side effect there is, because I get a lot of messages from people saying, oh, you're not doing too bad for what you're taking, or you're not doing too bad for where you are. Like, no, I've still got side effects. Like, there's no two ways about it. So I'm going to run you through the whole potential side effects, the ones that I have had, and just a whole host of other things. So first things first, like, let's talk about blood work. Blood work is so important. Blood work is what people just seem to not use. I'm affiliated with a private blood testing company called mitigation.com. Plug Josh Bridgman for discount. They provide home tests that people will come, like, you can get a nurse to come to you. They'll take your blood. They will then like send it off and give you a full panel of everything. And it's very, very difficult in England. I don't know whereabouts you guys are or how it is there in private healthcare or anything, but it's quite difficult to get exactly what you want. But Medichex offers that private service. So I use them and have used them, and I had a full panel done before even beginning steroids, like 6-7 months ago. So first things first, cholesterol, the big thing that most people talk about. regardless of what you're taking, your cholesterol will be affected. If you're taking exogenous testosterone, as soon as you start to go supra physiological, which is where we go above a natural range of testosterone, even if it's synthetic, that's fine. But as soon as you start going supra physiological, you will start to see negative effects on your cholesterol. So here is my cholesterol from before taking steroids. This is my cholesterol during and after taking steroids. So you can see a big difference: reduction in HDL, increase in LDL, and general the ratios are way off. That is just part of what we have to do, and we can do stuff to mitigate it. We have to consider we're also taking aromatase inhibitors, which have a pretty harsh effect on lipid profiles. If taking things to take down prolactin, like Kaba, like I had to do at one point, that's again very harsh on the lipids. So mine probably aren't the best results. I think they're probably a little bit better than what they are in these results than they are now. I know that my cholesterol's improved because I did a cholesterol test at Body Power. But you can see the stark difference, and that is regardless of what you do. So that is something that you probably don't feel. If you have decreased levels of HDL and increased levels of LDL, you increase your risk of arteriosclerosis, heart disease, and whatnot. So you want to spend as little time out of those ratios as you can, which is why I'll go into a cruise after this phase. Hormones, here is my hormones before, everything green, everything looking good. FSH, estrogen, testosterone, all really good. Here is them after. So you can see the stark difference. Estrogen was way higher. We've got to consider we are super physiological testosterone, so it would make sense if you were slightly super physiological estrogen, but not too high, so you need to control that a little bit. Prolactin, again, was out of range. This was really low because I had to take Kaba. You can see, and generally speaking, a lot more reds. Obviously testosterone way higher. But seriously, like the impacts of having higher hormones, so if you've got high prolactin, high estrogen, which a lot of people don't even think because you just don't necessarily feel it, but you can have high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a silent killer, something you don't really feel. You can get headaches, hypertension headaches, and just generally increase your risk of heart disease and heart attacks and strokes. So you want to be on top of your estrogen and prolactin. Same thing with prolactin. You might find your sex drive goes down with higher estrogen and higher prolactin, so you need to be careful of that. And yeah, like just generally affecting your hormones are going to affect you emotionally, like inevitably you're going to be affected emotionally through your hormones. So you've got to be considerable of where your hormones lie and where you put them. If you're doing this exogenously, then you are in full control of your hormones. So just make sure you're getting regular checkups and you can put them exactly where you feel good. So yeah. Hematocrit levels, so blood, red blood cell count, all that kind of stuff. What do you think happens when you perform at a super physiological rate? You build muscle, of course, you're going to have more blood. So before, after, you can see the difference. A lot higher. I'm actually in the high range. If you have high blood count, that increases the viscosity of your blood. That increases risk of heart attacks, blood clots, and whatnot. So you need to be very considerable about where your hematocrit levels are. Get them checked. If you need to donate blood, you're going to have to go donate blood. I've done a good bit of research actually recently into donating blood. Liver and kidney. So generally speaking, your liver and kidney markers are always going to skew from training anyway. Talking like creatine kinase, CK levels, things like that. But introducing something that your body's got to process, that's exogenous, that's a hormone. Depending on what you're taking, depending on which things you're taking. If you're taking orals, all of these things are going to affect liver markers and kidney markers. Guess what? They lead to kidney and liver disease and problems like that. So you need to make sure that you are spending as most time in healthy ranges as you can, which is why you would cycle an oral, Anavar, Winstrol, something like that. That will affect your liver levels quite a lot. You would only want to run that for a short period of time because it has that effect on you, and it is hepatotoxic. It is toxic to the liver. That's pretty much it on blood work. Like, you've seen the difference. You can see the stark difference that happens before and after. You are in no way healthier when you start to take these things. So I don't want people to think, oh, you're doing even better. Yeah, you might feel better because you're superhuman. You're lifting stronger, feeling better. But guess what? Like, inside you're not. You're doing damage. So you've got to be careful of these blood works. So please use things like Medichecks. If your GP does it, then great. If you've got private healthcare, then great. Just be on top of it. You've got the ability to do this stuff, so just don't be stupid with it. So when people say, you know, here's half a milligram of Aromadex, here's 12.5 grams of Aromasin. You need to take this every 4 days. Well, how do you know? What if you don't aromatize very much? You know, I'm someone who aromatizes a lot, so I need to take an AI to keep it in control. You know, I know people who take the same amount as me and they don't need an AI. You know, so you've got to consider your individual pharmacodynamics and your individual pharmacokinetics. So, you know, just get it checked. Easy. Moving on to like mental side effects. So for me, I personally not noticed too many mental side effects. Maybe I'm slightly shorter tempered. I've got a pretty I'm fairly impatient anyway, so I don't know whether it's heightened it. But like when I was eating loads of food, drinking loads of water, you know, not worrying too much and feeling pretty good, I don't think it affected me whatsoever personally. But obviously being dieting, I probably got a little bit more predisposition to it. But I think it just amplifies who you are as a person. If you're a firecracker, if you're someone who fights on a night out, gets in arguments, guess what? You take steroids, it's going to make it worse, and there's no two ways about it. If you're placid, if you're calm, if you're not someone like that, I don't think it's going to affect you that much really. But you need to consider these things. It might affect you. When you, like I said, when you're talking with hormones, you know, there's a reason why women fluctuate so much during a 4-week cycle. You know, during their luteal phase or during their, you know, when pregnenolone is high or estrogen is higher during their menstrual cycle. There's a reason why they feel different and act different and crave different things, because hormones will affect how you feel. And it's the same thing with gear for the guys and for the girls. If you're affecting your hormones, you know, really high testosterone, you know, high blood pressure, you're going to snap way more, of course, you know. But if you keep on top of your stress management and everything like that, and you're someone who's placid, you're probably going to be okay. But you've got to consider the mental side effects, and you've got to consider your partner in that, and you've got to consider your parents in that, and the people who you live around, you know, the people who are on the receiving end of your personality. You need to consider them in that decision. So physical side effects, you're going to get bigger, you're going to get leaner, you're going to get stronger, you're going to repair quicker, you're not going to get as much central nervous system fatigue, you're going to repair quicker. That is the fact of it. However, your sex drive is also going to go up or down, so you need to consider that as a physical side effect. You may also get acne. That's another physical side effect. I'm lucky I've got clear skin. I think if you're more predispositioned to having spots, you're probably going to have more spots and more acne. But also having imbalance in hormones is going to lead to more acne, which is more reason to blood test as well. Gyno, you can get gynecomastia, which is essentially when you have higher estrogen levels and you start to build breast tissue behind your nipples. So if you start feeling lumps, if you start feeling less sensitivity in the nipples, then you want to address that. For me, for example, after 3 weeks of using testosterone enanthate 250 milligrams a week, I started getting tickly nipples. They started tingling and they were slightly swollen. That just for me meaning I need to control my estrogen a little better. This is where you would either bring in an aromatase inhibitor or a SERM, or you would, you know, maybe bring in something else that's maybe aromatase inhibiting, like a Masteron or something, to control your estrogen. But you need to consider what move you make, and you need to have someone who knows what they're on about when you're making these moves. You know, don't take this as advice. You've got to consider that I'm trying to let you know that there's just so many avenues that you can go down that you need to be considerate about where you are. And then I think something that people don't think about is the financial implications. Steroids aren't expensive, I'll tell you that much, right? Steroids and needles, they're not that expensive. You know, you don't need to spend loads on, you know, especially if you're just basing off like a testosterone for the first few years or whatever. It's not that expensive. What is expensive is when you start going into prep cycles, when you start to consider the health cycles, and consider the health supplements. That's when it gets expensive. All of the, like, steroids have side effects. However, the side effects are manageable. You still get put into a compromised position, but they are manageable. You know, for example, we can take things that improve cholesterol, improve hormones. We can take things that will improve, you know, maybe your skin, maybe your micronutrition, that are going to help down the line. So I do that, you know. I take 10, 15, 20 pills a day. I take scoops of the right things, glutathione, curcumin, things like that, to keep my health markers in place, keep my inflammation down, and keep myself in a good position. So when you consider all of those supplements, plus the gear, it gets expensive, you know, plus the extra food you're going to be eating because you're bigger, stronger, faster, leaner, you know. So you've got to consider everything when you talk about the finance side of things. And you can't be put in a position where you are strapped for cash on gear. I don't think that's a wise move. For example, I get some people who will just be like, oh, I can't get the full Medichex test because it's too expensive. Well, which one can I get that's streamlined? I'm like, why would you want to streamline your health? You know, it's crazy. You if you're in this game to compete with steroids, you need to do it properly, and you need to make sure you're taking care of your endocrine system, your health system, and everything. So yeah guys, that's what I wanted to say about side effects. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the upgrading content. There's plenty more where that came from. We are 9 weeks out, fam. Let's fucking get it. Peace and love.